Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Lara Pence. Welcome to the video series, Understanding Your Greatest Self. I'm diving right in today. We are in a Thursday episode talking about trauma. So the main idea of March, right, is talking about how does the past impact me in the present, and trauma is a huge piece of this. If you're an individual out there who knows that you've been through some kind of trauma, and in the world of trauma research and in the world of a psychologist and a therapist, often the way that we look at trauma is we look at like big T's and little t's, right? T being trauma. And it's important to maybe understand that like whether you've identified as having like a big T trauma or like a little t trauma, it impacts you, right? Like it doesn't actually really matter necessarily the level of trauma as it relates to the level in which you're impacted. Being bullied on a playground might have a profound impact on your present and current position versus a incredibly traumatic car accident, right? So if you're an individual out there and you've gone through something that somebody in your life has identified as a trauma, or you have even shown up for yourself and identified that as a trauma, try not to judge your trauma against somebody else's. Like comparative suffering is no good, whether you're putting yourself beneath or putting yourself above. We all have our own experiences, and it's just important to recognize when we've experienced some kind of trauma, right? And trauma is going to show up for us in the present often because we store it in the body. And that's why it's really important when you've gone through a trauma to do some type of body work, really. Yoga is great for that. If you've experienced some kind of trauma and you're really looking to work in the body, see if you can find a yoga therapist who actually has an expertise in dealing with trauma. But know that we store our traumas in our body, right? And so they can come out much later in life if we haven't attended them or attended to them or paid attention to them or given them the attention that they deserve. So some of the traumas that you may have experienced in your past that are showing up for you in the present right now, one of the things most importantly that I want to talk about today is I want you to ask yourself the question, how am I getting support for that, right? So that really is your key question of the week. How am I getting support for the past trauma that I've experienced? Are you getting support through a therapist or through a psychologist, right? Are you going to some kind of group therapy? Are you reaching out to the individuals in your current position, in your current life that maybe you need to, and maybe you need to work through with them how this is showing up for you in the present and ask for support? Here's the thing, people. We are individuals, but we heal in the context of relationships. We heal in communities, right? We heal with other individuals who are able to provide empathy, who are able to provide safe containers for us so that we can show up in a really vulnerable way and express our emotions and let ourselves sit with the feelings that are hard for us and have them be validated. So I know this maybe sort of seems off topic from some of the things that I've talked about this month, but it's really not, because one of the most important ways for you to understand how your past trauma is showing up for you in the present is to get help and to get support, right? I here today am not going to heal that for you because it's a deep process. But one of the best ways that you can begin to heal it for yourself is to ask for support from the individuals around you, whether it's a partner, a spouse, a sibling, a friend, a pastor, a therapist, a counselor. Like those are the individuals that are going to help you heal, but you have to use your words. You have to communicate to them that you need support, that you need somebody to hear your story, that you need somebody to witness your truth. So again, your key question of the week is, how am I going to get support for my past trauma and how it's impacting me in the present? So that is the month of March. We've wrapped up how does the past impact me in the present. Now we're going to move into April, which is all about how do I manage my emotions? Now that is like an amazing, awesome exploration, because how you handle your emotions is really honestly sometimes about how do you handle your life. Because we are feeling beings. Brene Brown says this all the time. We are feeling beings, not thinking beings. We like to think that we're thinking beings, but actually we are feeling beings. And if you don't know how to manage and regulate and attend to your emotions, then you are not going to show up in the world in the way that you want to. So come back in April, because we're going to uncover and talk about a lot of stuff as it relates to emotions. Click on that subscribe button. Make sure you're coming back. Also, if you're interested in like diving deeper into some of this stuff and maybe going a little bit further with activities and with worksheets and notes from these videos, deeper notes than the ones are in the comments, consider becoming a patron on my Patreon page. It's a community that's going to help you even elevate yourself more than you're doing already. Okay? So I'll see you next week as we dive into April. America.